Hey man, another fight week for you. This is a consistent thing for you. You're a very consistent dude. Is that intentional, or has it just worked out that way? Do you like to have these every 3 months or so?
Oh no, I definitely like to fight as much as I can, especially being younger. I don't want to be one of the like 35, 36-year-old guys who's maybe a little bit past their prime and having to worry about fights. So even last year I wanted to fight a little bit more, but I broke my thumb in the first fight, hurt my elbow in the second one. So now if I can come out of fights healthy, I'm going to try to fight as much as I can.
This one was supposed to happen a few months ago. Obviously, you had to go with somebody else instead at the time, but now you've had a little extra time to prepare for a guy like him. What's that process been like, and will it be beneficial on Saturday night?
Yeah, so I remember when we got the Lineker fight first time, I think it was like 3 weeks ahead of time. I was training with a couple of guys that I remember thinking to myself and talking to my coaches like, hey man, like I really wish that we had like even just 2 more weeks to get ready for Lineker, because fighting a shorter guy is just as tough as the shorter guy fighting the taller guy, you know. There's adjustments that need to be made, so now that we had 8 weeks, I feel much more comfortable taking the fight. I feel really in a groove with my style and all the things that we've been working, so yeah, 8-week camp for someone that's built that much differently is much more helpful.
Will he be the shortest guy you've ever fought?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. The tallest training partner I have is 5'4", and even he seems really small to me.
What's the closest one that you can remember that's close enough to John's size?
I don't know. You know, fighting at 145, I didn't really fight guys that short. I did fight a couple really big swingers though, so that's nice. At least I know what that type of intensity and aggressiveness feels like. But no, someone that short, I don't know. We'll see.
He's been on a pretty serious run. 8 of 9. The only loss was to Dillashaw, which now I think everybody kind of shrugs their shoulders and say, well, we don't know now.
Yeah.
What of his fights have you looked at? What does he bring to the table that might concern you? And sort of where does this put you? I mean, he's a huge name in the division right now.
Yeah, he's a really big name. It's a really tough fight too, you know. There's really no getting around that, you know. Like if he gets his hands on your chin, then like it's a bad night. So the last 4 fights are kind of the ones that we've been really watching. I mean, but he doesn't fight too often, you know. I was actually really surprised to learn yesterday that he was only a year older than me. He hasn't fought in, I think, a year, and then before that it was maybe even a year or two. So him not being that active, I don't know. It's either going to play in his favor or not. I'm expecting the best John Lineker that there is for that night, tomorrow night. So, or I guess 2 nights. But yeah, I mean, there's no like secret to his game. He tries to knock your head off, and we've been doing things to prepare for that. So, yeah, hopefully it'll be my night.
If you have the reach advantage and like the height as well, in your case, how do you plan to like not let him actually close the distance?
Yeah, so I mean, without giving too much away, but controlling the range is everything. Like that's been tried and proven in MMA. Like all of the really great strikers that you're seeing now are very good at controlling the range. Me being longer and me being able to move my feet, and especially in a division where the guys are going to be much shorter than me. I mean, that's always going to be a huge advantage that I have, is that I get to kind of dictate that pace a little bit more than they get to, because I'm able to move my feet and I'm able to stay further away from them, which, like I said, has just been like a tried and true practice, where the person that can control the range is usually the person that's winning.
He's ranked number 8 in the division. You know, where do you think a win puts you in the division?
I mean, at least number 8, if it makes sense. But the rankings and things like that, I'm not too 100% sure. I think it depends also how I finish him. If I have like a really impressive knockout or a really impressive submission, then it'll probably boost me up maybe 6, 5. Especially with, I think Garbrandt said he's going to be out for a little bit. Cruz with his hurt shoulder, so I don't really know what they're going to do with all of that stuff. But I mean, definitely at least 8. I mean, if it's really impressive, I could see it being 5 or 6.
How do you, if the fight goes your way, how do you think it ends? And like, if you could give a prediction.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to knock Lineker out. He's got like a stone chin, so I mean, the more you hunt for a knockout against someone that has like a really good chin, the more tired you're going to get. I'm just going to pepper him up, you know, stay really long like how I do. Fight my fight, like I'm not changing too much, you know, just little critiques here and there, but I still go out and plan on being me, putting a lot of pressure on, staying long, But yeah, I think knocking Lineker out would be really cool. But also at the same time, the dude's got like an iron chin, so going to be very difficult to do. But I mean, I always want to knock out.
You were putting guys away in the LFA, and now you're putting guys away in the UFC. What was the transition like for you going from that level to this next level? Because you seem to have not had too tough of a time adjusting.
Yeah, I would say a lot of it I could attribute to my sports coach or my performance coach. I've been working with him for about 2 years, ever since I lost my first fight. Only because I know that I lost because my mind wasn't as strong as the other guy, and I wasn't having that. So like the last 2 years, I've been really dedicating and focusing my mind and just being able to take care of all of the stressors and the little fires that come up throughout the fight week, and the fight and the insecurities just in general. So me being able to do that for the last 2 years has made me very strong in my mind.
You've only been back down at 135 less than a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is this home for you for now?
Yeah, 35 is going to be my home. You know, that was kind of always the plan too. I was fighting 45 because usually the fights in the UFC come up on like a week, 2 weeks notice, which is what happened for me, so it worked out. But I just didn't want to make a cut to 35 for like $2,000, $3,000, you know. Now that I'm getting paid a little bit more, and obviously I'm fighting the best guys in the world now, it's definitely worth it for me to do so. So, and it's not too bad. If it was a health problem, then I wouldn't do it. But it's a healthy cut, so that this is going to be my home for sure.
You mentioned about impressive wins. So at this point for your career, how important is that? Not just to get the win, but to get the impressive win. And is that something with UFC, you need to get that impressive win? Yeah,
the UFC likes finishes, and I think that they're almost maybe not more concerned, but just as concerned as how you're finishing fights versus who you're beating, you know? You see it all the time where a couple guys get couple really good knockouts against people that maybe don't even really belong in there with them. So, and then they just kind of jump them up, which is kind of what's happening with me, you know. I had 2 debuters and then and Yuri, you know. So not to take anything away from those guys, but I mean jumping up all the way to number 8 after beating 2 debuts and Yuri is a pretty big jump. But I think it's because I was able to finish fights really impressively. So with this one, man, like, whatever, as long as I win. You know, for me, it's whatever I got to do to win. As long as I'm being myself in there and I do my best, I'm cool with that. I can go to bed sleeping good that night.